Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. I'm ready for the event.
West Virginia Wesleyan College, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Jesse White at West Virginia Wesleyan College. How do you hear me?
Hey, good afternoon. I hear you loud and clear, and welcome aboard the International Space Station.
Hi, Mr. Acaba. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We have over 200 fourth graders and fifth graders from Buckhannon, West Virginia here today, and they are really excited to talk with you. We have some questions for you, so without further delay, our first question is from Caleb Mabry.
Hello, my name is Caleb Mabry. How long is the voyage from Earth to space, and what procedures are necessary to follow to get from a space shuttle onto the ISS?
Yeah, so it takes us about 8 to 8.5 minutes to get from Earth up into space, and then it could take us anywhere from about 6 hours and sometimes 2 days to make it to the International Space Station. And a great question about how we connect. So we have a door, we call it a hatch, on our spaceship, the Soyuz that we fly on, and then we have one on the space station side, and they both open inward. So when we dock, there's a little bit of space in between that is the vacuum of space. We have to pump air into that space, and then we're able to open the doors and make our Soyuz part of the space station.
Hello, my name is Carla McHenry. Why did you want to be an astronaut?
Well, it's a lot of fun to be an astronaut, and ever since I was young, it was kind of a dream of mine. Watching the astronauts walk on the moon was pretty cool, and I like to read a lot of science fiction books, so I always read about these explorers and people going to different worlds, different planets, and so it's just been something that I dreamed about ever since I was a kid.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Black. How do you deal with claustrophobia in space?
Well, luckily, I'm not too claustrophobic, and it might be hard. It might be something difficult when you're in the Soyuz. If you ever see us, we're in a pretty tight spot, and when you get into your spacesuit, you're kind of enclosed, so that might be difficult. But you can see up here on the space station, there's a lot of room around me. It's like a big house, and you have all this space above you, so you never really feel like you're too confined while you're up here.
Hello, my name is Bear Matheny. Your stay on the ISS is lengthy. How do you make it your home?
Yeah, so my stay this time will be right around 5.5 months, and we're about 4 months into it. And it's pretty cool living here. Not only is it a laboratory like you can see, but it also is our home. So we have a little bit of space that we can call our own. And, you know, we have various pictures of the family, things that just kind of make it feel like home. But it's also the laboratory, so you kind of have to find that balance between the workplace and being at home. But it just feels great to be here, and after just a week or so, you just feel really comfortable floating around, and it feels like I'm at home. So it's pretty awesome.
Hello, my name is Joey Nolte. Do you feel the same effects of sickness in space as you do on Earth? Describe some of the symptoms, similarities, and differences.
So I think part of that was, do we feel the same kind of sickness here that we might on Earth? One of the good things about being here is that we really don't catch any colds, and so we're pretty healthy the whole time that we're here. Before we launch, we go into what's called quarantine, where we're staying away from people as much as we can so we don't catch a cold and then bring it up to the crew that is already here. So, well, I know it was a tough flu season back on Earth. up here we stay really, really healthy. But I think if we were to get sick, the effects might be very similar. And working with the surgeons that we have, the doctors down at the various control centers, we can deal with anything that might happen to us. But overall, we feel pretty healthy all the time. It's pretty cool.
Hello, my name is Shaden Dabar. When you don't have a helmet on in space, is it just like being underwater?
Yeah, so being up here, part of it feels like you're in water, but the good thing is you can breathe, and so it's really comfortable. And when we train to do spacewalks, we actually train in a pool, and so it makes you feel like you're in this microgravity environment. But it is, while it's somewhat similar, it's way better being here because, again, you can just breathe naturally. You don't have to wear a suit. You don't have to wear a helmet, and you just can float just like you would if you were in the water.
Hello, my name is Neva Perrine. What's the temperature in space?
That's a great question, and we actually have to I had to investigate a question like that because what I understand is if you're outside the space station, if you were to touch it, it'll be anywhere from about minus 150 degrees Fahrenheit up to positive 250 degrees Fahrenheit. So it depends on if the sun is up or if the sun is down. And as we go around the Earth, we see quite a few sunrises and sunsets. So it can get pretty cold outside, and it can also get pretty warm.
Hello, my name is Garrett Goff. Can you hear sound in space?
That was my crewmate Mark floating by there. Can you hear sound in space? So here inside the space station, it's just like being back on Earth. We have normal air here. But in order for you to hear sound and for sound to travel, there has to be molecules in the air that can transfer the sound waves. And so if you were out in space, let's say, and you were able to take your helmet off, which we don't do when we're outside, because there's no air there, you would not hear the sound. But what's pretty neat is when people go out and do a spacewalk, the pressure inside their suit is different than the pressure that we have here. So when you hear them and they go out in a spacewalk, their voices sound kind of funny.
Hello, my name is Emma Hawkins. What is it like to be an astronaut?
It's great being an astronaut. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. But when you find something that you really love to do, the work doesn't seem so hard or so bad. There's a lot of studying, a lot of preparation. But to be somewhere like this, where I can do this, it's pretty fun. So it's really cool being an astronaut, and it's fun to be exploring and doing a lot of different science experiments. So I hope someday we can get more and more people to come up and experience what we do up here every day.
Hello, my name is Haley Perry. How do you know something needs repaired on the ISS, and how do you repair it?
That's a good question. So sometimes things will break like they do back at home, and let's say it's a fan or a pump, you might hear it that it's not working well. A lot of the equipment that we have will have various lights and indications. If something were to break, the light might flash or come on. And then we also have mission controls across the world that are looking at our equipment, and they can tell us if something were to break and need to be repaired. And a lot of times we'll go ahead and change pieces of equipment before they actually break. But sometimes things happen, and when it happens to pieces of equipment like your toilet, it's important to know and important to fix it as quick as you can.
Hello, my name is Keynes Monty. How does welding and forging work in space?
You know, that's a great question, and I don't know if we have done any kind of welding in space. I think that the principles would work if you're supplying your own oxygen and you have your gas. You could probably do it if you were doing some kind of an arc welding with electricity. That would probably work as well. But as far as I know, and you can check me on that when we get done here, I'm not sure if we've done it, but it sure would be fun to try.
Hello, my name is Hunter Sawyers. What is the food like in space?
The food is pretty good. One of the drawbacks of the food is that we kind of have to eat the same thing on a regular basis, but it's not bad. I brought part of my dinner for you to see. I have some cashew chicken curry. It's delicious, especially if you wrap it up in a tortilla. And I've got some southwestern corn. So all of the food is in some kind of a bag. Some of it comes ready to eat, and some of it we have to add water to. But it's pretty tasty. But I am looking forward to getting back and having some pizza and a big fat bacon cheeseburger.
Hello, my name is Gracie Davis. What purpose do the space suits serve, and how does it promote a safer and effective living environment in space?
Yeah, so the spacesuit is super important for us to work outside of the space station. So here it is a normal working environment, but outside it's a vacuum type environment. So we can't breathe out there without a suit on. So when we put the suit on, it's almost like we're in our own little space station or spaceship. It has everything we need in there. It has the oxygen. It has a way for us to get rid of the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. We have a little bit of drinking water that we can drink while doing a spacewalk. So the spacesuit is super important, and that's what keeps us alive while we're outside, and that's what allows us to do all the work we have to do when we go out for a spacewalk.
Hello, my name is Keegan Davis. What does a lunar and solar eclipse look like in space compared to observing it from Earth?
Yeah, so I have not been up here while we've had a lunar or a solar eclipse, but we had one right before I did, and one of my crewmates was telling me about it, that it was pretty interesting to see, and you could really see the impact and the way the Earth looks differently. But hopefully I can come back again and I can see it firsthand, or one of you will be up here and you can see it from space and tell me all about it.
Hello, my name is Rihanna Hoover. How do you dress yourself in space, and how do you wash your clothes?
So dressing yourself up here can be a little bit tricky because you can see you're moving around. So if you're trying to get your pants on, it can get a little bit crazy. And so you try to hook your feet down somewhere. And just like you do it on the ground, and people say, one leg at a time. And so we do that. One of the great things about being into space is we don't have to wash our clothes. And so we wear our clothes, and we wear them for different lengths of time depending on the type of clothing, and then we go ahead and we throw them away. So no washing, no ironing, and I really like that part about it.
Hi, my name is Hannah Robinson, and I'm saying this for a classmate. Why can't you take food from Earth into space?
So why can't we take normal food? So the main reason why we have to have our food like this and have it prepared for us is that the food gets up here even before I get here. And so it might be up here for 6 months, a year or more before we eat it. So we need to have the food in a way in which it's preserved so it doesn't go bad. But we can fly some regular food up here, and we're allowed to pick some items that they'll fly, and it'll be here just when we arrive. But a lot of it does have to be preserved, and you just don't want it to go bad on you. But we do have some things up here that we like, that we ask for, that come right off the shelf from our local grocery store. And every now and then when we get a vehicle that will come and visit us, it'll bring up fresh food, fruits and vegetables, so that's always a good time.
Hello, my name is Brooklyn Smith. What responsibilities do you have, not only to NASA, but to the community as an astronaut?
Wow, that's a pretty good question. I think apart from my job as an astronaut up here in space, I think I have a responsibility to go into my community and share what we do and explain why it's important for us to explore space. But, you know, that's a question I think that everyone should be asked, and we should ask other people. I think we have a lot of responsibilities to our communities. I think if I can help inspire some young folks in my community to follow their dreams, whatever it may be, that's super important. So I love that question, and I hope you ask more people that question so that more of us will get involved with our community, because there's nothing more important than doing that.
Hello, my name is Jace Riffle. Can you talk to your families while on the International Space Station?
Yep, I sure can. So once a week, we have a video conference with our families. And so my family's out in California. And so I think I actually see them more while I'm in space than I do when I'm at home, because every week we have a video conference, and that's a lot of fun to see them. And we also have a telephone, and I tell people it is the best telephone ever, because I can call anybody I want to call, but nobody can call me. So I like having a phone like that, and I use it to call the family and to stay in touch. So it's really, really nice and important to have that.
Hey, I'm Jack Waggy. Do you have any privacy in space?
Do we have any privacy? There's not a lot of privacy. We have our own personal space. It's called our crew quarters. And I would say it's about maybe this wide and about this much in front of me and about this tall. So it's maybe the size of a small closet. But really, that's all you need to have a little bit of a private space. That's where we sleep. It's nice and quiet. You can get on the computer, do email, look at the schedule. But that's about the extent of the private space. It's pretty open. Mark behind me is standing in the kitchen. You know, we're in this laboratory where everything is kind of mixed together. And so there's not a ton of privacy, but I think it's enough for the work we're doing up here. But it'll be nice to get home and have a little bit more.
Hello, my name is Maya Critchfield. What's it like up in space?
It's totally awesome up in space. It's one of the best places I've ever been, and I love being here. You know, growing up, I really liked Spider-Man, so I can come over here and I can just hang out on the wall, and I can talk to you like this. I mean, where else do you get to do this? You can do flips. You feel super strong. I can pass equipment to my friends. I can have my microphone just float in front of me. Being in space is awesome. If you ever get the chance, you want to do it.
My name is Hunter Shipman. Is the time zone different in space? If it is, how is the appropriate time zone determined?
Yeah, so up here we're working on Greenwich Mean Time, which is similar to the time in London, England. So for us, it's almost 5 in the afternoon, and so that is the time that we use up here. So we go to bed based on that time, we wake up based on that time, and then the different mission controls around the world, they have to work according to this schedule. So, for example, when we wake up and start our day in Houston, it's the middle of the night. But for us, we just we work a normal work day, try to get to bed around 10 o'clock at night, and then I wake up around 6 in the morning.
Mr. Acaba, thank you very much for today.
Hey, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much for coming up.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Participants from West Virginia Wesleyan College. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications. Nicely done.